It's Wednesday, September 21st. Welcome to this week's edition of CT Pulse on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Josh Fisher, my co-host, still away this week, but he'll be back next week. We still have a lot to talk about, including a court ruling that's going to mean some far-reaching reforms for Connecticut public schools. Later in the show, Weston Forum editor Patty Gay joins us to talk about a horrendous case of animal cruelty there in Weston. And of course, later on, Doug Smith joins us for Drawing Conclusions. But up first, I have a very special guest in studio today, Deborah Greenwood, who is the president and CEO of the Center for Family Justice. Deborah, we always love to have you on the HAN Network. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And you have a big event coming up that we're going to talk about in just a bit. But first, we like to remind people the services that you all offer at the Center for Family Justice.
Sure. Last year we became Connecticut's first Family Justice Center, which meant we brought services all under one roof for victims of abuse, whether it's domestic violence, sexual violence, or child abuse. We're a 24/7 crisis center. So we now have law enforcement working with us. We have free pro bono services, and obviously the core of our mission is really advocacy. So safety planning, a 24/7 hotline, and a emergency shelter for those that need to really get away from the situation, especially as it's related to domestic violence.
That's right. And we should mention, with all those services offered, fundraising is really important for you guys. And you have next Tuesday the Speaking of Women Luncheon, annual luncheon. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, this is our largest event. This year it's our 19th annual signature event, and we have our keynote, which will be Nancy Grace, who is very familiar to so many of us on TV, but is also a huge advocate on child abuse and advocacy for a lot of the work that we do, and for primary victims that are children, especially under the age of 18, that we do see, as well as children that are living in houses and become secondary victims of domestic violence.
Now, Nancy Grace, such a national figure. I mean, how did it come about that she was able to do this event? It's in Monroe at the Waterview, correct?
It is, yes. And we already have over 400 people that are paid registered. We're anticipating between 450 and 475 by the time we reach next Tuesday. We have an incredible committee that starts working on this event right after we have Speaking of Women. So it takes us a full year to put together who's going to be the speaker and what should the venue look like and how will we approach it. So the committee this year is being co-chaired by Catherine Gallagher, who's a resident of Fairfield, and Donna Kraft, who's a resident of Easton, in addition to many others from our service area, board members and non-board members that really are advocates for the mission of the Center for Family Justice. So as we look at people that really support the type of work that we do, we want it very focused. So we're excited to hear Nancy Grace speak about the advocacy work that she's done for children nationally across the country that have either been exploited or victimized.
That's interesting. So it's interesting because Nancy Grace can be somewhat of a controversial figure for some people, but she does have an interesting background, and she has spoken out a lot about child abuse, as you mentioned. So was that kind of the thinking behind that she's the right person for this kind of event?
She was. As we started looking at, we've had some wonderful speakers in the past 19 years, well 18 and now 19 moving forward, and one of the things that really struck us was a lot of this soft part that you may not see on TV is really the behind-the-scenes work she's done as a prosecutor, but also as a volunteer and a philanthropist on supporting kids and what happens to them after the abuse has hit and struck. And that's an area that the Center for Family Justice is going to be announcing as well next Tuesday, that next summer, 2017, we've been chosen as one of 6 sites in the United States in collaboration with the YMCA, the Central Connecticut Coast YMCA, to open Camp Hope, which will be a camp for children that have been traumatized and abused, very focused, working with the Y up at Camp High Rock. We have a beautiful venue, but we'll be very focused on the healing part and giving kids hope. And that also led to why Nancy Grace was so important for next Tuesday.
That's so incredible, because you think about when you find a case of child abuse, getting a child out of there, and that's the immediate call, but then afterwards, all of the impact that that situation had on the child.
It really does. And a lot of studies, Kate, have been done over the years, working with the Camp Hope America and San Diego International Alliance for Hope, is where we're following an evidence-based not only model with our Justice Center, but now moving forward with working with kids and how does trauma affect their brain, whether it's physical, emotional, and as they become adults, it's been proven that many of them end up either being the victim or the abuser. So the idea is to really look at 10 key factors on children's brains and how they develop, to give them hope, and again, no pun intended, but hopefully be able to move forward, not just through our summer camp, but a focus on all the youth activities that we're providing that are focused on helping them heal.
Right. And how can people attend this luncheon, support it, and support all the great work that you guys are doing?
If someone is still interested in going, we still have room. They can call the center at 203-334-6154 and hit 0. We have a new phone system to reach a receptionist and ask for our development office. Someone will be more than happy to help, or they can go onto our website and purchase the ticket online as well.
That's so great. And before we let you go, we have to talk about October, because that's going to be a busy month for you guys as well. Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There's going to be a lot of local vigils that you guys do every year just to raise awareness.
Yes, we're very proud of being able to have 7 vigils once again this year. We have 2 in Bridgeport, but 1 in each town that we serve. Monroe, Trumbull, Easton, Stratford, Fairfield, and of course in Bridgeport. We'll have 1 at the university and another one off-site in Spanish. And what is important to understand about vigils, we reflect back on those who have lost their lives in Connecticut that were due to a domestic violence incident, but to also render the hope for individuals as well. And at every vigil, more than one individual that's in the audience will disclose that they need help. And we have our staff that are there, and of course our hotlines are always open 24/7. But what's helpful, just as we are today, it's bringing awareness to someone that might really feel that they did something wrong and the victims blame themselves, that there's hope out there, and there's free confidential services like the Center for Family Justice.
Now, a part that I noticed about your past vigils, the Clothesline Project, really powerful. I saw it a couple years ago outside of the Trumbull Library. Tell us a little bit about that project and what that's all about.
Thank you. We have watched this program grow over the last 9 years. Very special thanks not only to the Trumbull Rotary Club and the Trumbull Library and the Prevention Committee that is really through Tim Herbst, the first selectman, but a former board member by the name of Steve Hodson saw this somewhere in another state, and people can anonymously get a t-shirt at the Trumbull Library and write what they feel abuse is to them. What does that mean to you? And we have children that write from their heart. We have adults that write from their heart. And these t-shirts are then displayed 1 week prior to our Trumbull Vigil. And the line started with 6 t-shirts 9 years ago. We now have well over 8 clotheslines with a few hundred t-shirts. And that does tell us something, that people want to express it. And what's important is they're finding our services, which is key.
It's amazing. And we should say, if anyone's watching and they or someone they know might be in crisis right now, what can they do? How can they get in touch with you guys?
They can call the center. We do have a 24/7 hotline. The number is 203-334-6154.
All right. Deborah, thank you as always for joining us. Such important work that you do. Luncheon next Tuesday, such a great event. Again, the website so people can find out more.
On our website, www.centerforfamilyjustice.org.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
we
you.
are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Patty Gay of the Weston Forum joins us to talk about this case she's been covering in Weston of animal cruelty. That coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
As you're getting back to your regular schedules, we're excited to get back to doing what we do best, offering you the freshest seasonal fare and all the ingredients for a healthy start to school. So shop Walter Stewart's for everything fresh, from A, apples to Z, zucchini, and from cotton candy grapes to back to nature all-natural snack bags. We save you time by stocking all of your favorite back-to-school essentials under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan, and you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
At Mex on Main, Trumbull's very own Mexican grill, we're all about fresh, fast, and friendly service. Our Main Street restaurant offers the best in traditional and non-traditional Mexican dishes, with only the best ingredients, never frozen. From authentic burritos, fajitas, quesadillas, and salads, we have something on the menu for everyone in the family. And enjoy our open salsa bar, giving you more ways to customize your meal. Stop in for lunch or dinner at 6528 Main Street, Trumbull, or find out more at mexonmain.com.
At Elements Massage Ridgefield, we believe in quality services that are affordable and focused on therapy and healing. The licensed massage therapists are available 7 days a week, offering deep tissue and Swedish massage, as well as prenatal and couples massage. Special introductory rates are available now, or try our Elements trademarked wellness program. For more information, contact Elements Massage Ridgefield at 203-403-3348 or visit elementsmassage.com/Ridgefield.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Right. I'm going to mention
We
Tim.
are back on this Wednesday edition of CT Pulse on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski. Josh Fisher out again this week, but we're back now and talking about a huge story that the Weston Forum has been covering since last Friday. Hundreds of exotic birds, snakes, and reptiles were discovered last Thursday living in deplorable, unsanitary conditions at a home on Newtown Turnpike. Now, before we bring on Weston Forum editor Patty Gay, our own John Kovach went to the scene and got this video last Friday morning.
Yesterday afternoon at approximately 2:30, the Weston Police Department received a call about a foul odor at 82 Newtown Turnpike. Upon investigation, we determined that there were a number of animals, including snakes, birds, reptiles, inside the residence that needed assistance. At this time, we are conducting a joint investigation with multiple state agencies as well as our local animal control officer. We should have an update on this by the end of today.
Now, that was last Friday, John Kovach getting that video in Weston, but Patty Gay and Greg Menti of the Weston Forum have been covering this story in depth, and we do have Patty on the line right now. Patty, a lot of moving pieces to this story and a lot of new information that you guys have found out, right?
Oh, yes. This story really has taken on a new level. We have officials that are calling it one of the worst cases of animal hoarding that they've ever seen.
Oh. And now tell us a little bit about, you have a lot of pictures. We see people in some suits and some protective gear in the house. What are the conditions that they found as far as you understand them?
Well, let me just explain what happened at the beginning.
Please.
Police received a phone call about a bad smell coming from a house. So they went to the property, and sure enough, they smelled it too, and they thought there might be a dead body inside.
Wow.
When nobody responded, they opened the door for a wellness check and found tons of birds and snakes and dead animals and dead corpses and dead snake skins and all kinds of bad conditions and filthy conditions and I hate to use these words on the air, but feces and urine and everything all over the house, and that's where the smell was coming from. So what they did was they decided the stench was so bad they couldn't go in the house. So what they had was a hazmat team come down from the state of Connecticut wearing their hazmat suits. And so what you're seeing on some of this photos is people in hazmat suits, either from the state hazmat team or from a couple of different animal rescue groups who went inside to rescue the animals. So they're also in the hazmat suits.
Wow. And, I know that one of those rainforest reptiles is one of the rescue groups, and we should mention that Donald Ang, our Trumbull Times editor, his sister actually is a big part of that organization, Emily Ang. And I know you were able to speak with her this week. What did she have to say?
Yes, Greg Menti, our reporter here at the Forum, he interviewed Emily Yang, and what she said was, and these are the conditions that how she described the house. She basically said the conditions were indescribable. She said, I don't know if many people have smelled anything this bad. It was the smell of maggots, rotting flesh, and hundreds of dead animals. She said it just doesn't make sense how the homeowner could have lived in this house. And she just didn't think it was physically possible for someone to live like that with animal corpses and all the conditions that they found in the home. I should mention that the home at 82 Newtown Turnpike, it had electricity but no running water.
Wow.
And the homeowner was living there. I don't know if he was living there full time, but he was definitely living there, part of the time.
Wow. And so who is the homeowner? I know you've done some research on that. Who owns this property?
Okay, the name of the homeowner is Daniel Copulus, and he owns a very exotic, upscale bird shop called Fauna in New York City. It's on the Upper West Side. Now, he has a history of amazingly good things about him. Not only is he a well-regarded exotic bird shop owner, but the New York Times has written stories about him, and they call him, he's very soft-spoken, so they call him a soft-spoken bird whisperer. And then another story online, he was praised for annual pilgrimages that he made to Guatemala to save endangered scarlet macaws. So it just seemed very unusual that a man held in such high regard would be an animal hoarder and have hundreds of animals in this home, uncared for and malnourished and not fed and not given water and, dying. Yeah. In fact, from one of the people from the bird rescue group that helped with the birds, Rhode Island Parrot Rescue, said that there were some birds in a pile, bodies in a pile, and they were going through them kind of just to sort through them, and they said at one point there was more beak than body on the carcasses.
Wow.
They called it an absolutely heartbreaking, horrific scene at this house.
And now I know in speaking to both the rescue organizations, they're also looking for some support because there's a lot of animals now that they have to, either rehabilitate or take care of right now. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. For example, for the birds, Rhode Island Parrot Rescue, which is based in Warwick, Rhode Island, has 130 live birds, and many of them are in very poor shape. They transported them up to Warwick. They immediately have given them medical attention. They've called in vets. They give them water. They're giving them food. They're giving them clean conditions. They're doing whatever they can to help save these birds. And because these are such exotic birds, I mean, we're talking about parrots, macaws, and cockatoos, really expensive exotic birds. They need a lot of care and attention, and it's very expensive. I mean, this place is used to only having 40 birds a month there, and now they have 130 more. So people, they're really reaching out to the public. They're asking for donations. If people want to donate, they can go to riparrots.org. There's a tab there, donate and wish list, and people who make donations should mark them Weston birds so that the donations are applied to this case. And as for rainforest reptile shows, they've taken on 90 snakes. And we're not talking little tiny snakes. We're talking ball pythons, large python-type snakes. And they also are very interested in getting donations for these snakes. And can be reached at reptileshows.com.
Okay, and can you say that one more time, Patty? I think you just cut out for just a sec. What's the website?
Okay, yep. For Rainforest Reptile Shows, they can be reached at reptileman at rainforestreptileshows.com.
Okay. Now, Patty, this is, you both at the Weston Forum have done an incredible job covering this story. Any idea if arrests are going to be made in this? Will the homeowner potentially face any charges? What do we know so far?
Yes, and that's what I've been working on the past 2 days is, trying to get the police to talk a little bit about this because they don't want to talk necessarily because it's still under investigation and they don't want to jeopardize their case. However, they did say they are working with the state's attorney's office and they do expect, charges to be forthcoming fairly soon. So we're waiting to hear more about that when it comes, and we'll know a little bit more. But all I can say is the house has been condemned. The director of health has condemned the house, so the homeowner can't live there. However, he is cooperating fully with police. The police said Mr. Kopulis is fully cooperating with them, and but I tried to find out if they had any knowledge as to why he was keeping so many animals in this house under these conditions, and they didn't know. They couldn't respond to that.
Wow. All right. Well, again, for more coverage on this, thewestonforum.com, and tomorrow's Weston Forum, I know you have very detailed reports on the whole story up until now. So, Patty, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you, Kate. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Patty. We are going to step out for a break. When we come back, I'll talk about a couple stories that I'm following this week. We also have Doug Smith joining us to draw some conclusions. That coming up on your CT Pulse after this.
1, 2, 3, Abby! You know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
Again, come on! I can push myself way beyond what you think.
Pressure technique. Do your back.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking. To a partner that makes small businesses feel big. Where community comes first. Where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch. Where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver. Where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
At the Ridgefield Suzuki School, we believe that every child can. Using the internationally recognized Suzuki method, children learn to play their instrument in an environment of encouragement, parental support, and community. The Suzuki approach seeks to develop the whole child, to help unfold his or her natural potential to learn. Private lessons and group classes are offered on violin, viola, cello, and piano for children ages 4 and up, and young children can enroll in their school's early childhood classes before beginning an instrument. The Ridgefield Suzuki School, nurturing a love of music in all children. Call us at 203-403-2667 or visit ridgefieldsuzuki.com.
At Greenwood Physical Therapy of Bethel, individualized care, knowledgeable staff, and state-of-the-art equipment provide the best of orthopedic and sports medicine services. Our experienced therapists at Greenwood provide the highest level of knowledge and care. Greenwood accepts most kinds of insurance, and staff are there to answer your questions. Open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the clinic serves the greater Danbury area and is a convenient drive from Reading. Appointments are available within 24 hours. Just call 203-917-4792 or visit greenwoodphysicaltherapy.com for more information.
We're back on this week's edition of CT Pulse on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and while usually I have a partner here with me to discuss some of the stories we're following, just a big story that is worth mentioning right now, a court ordering far-reaching reforms for Connecticut public schools. And now the Hartford Courant reported just a couple weeks ago that a judge said and declared that Connecticut is defaulting on its constitutional duty to fairly educate its poorest children. And in fact, that judge ordered the state to come up with a new funding formula for public schools that doesn't rely as heavily on property taxes. Now, this decision is the culmination of an 11-year legal battle between the state and the Connecticut Coalition for Justice and Education Funding, an alliance of municipalities, boards of education, teachers, and education advocacy groups. That coalition had filed a lawsuit against then Governor Jody Rell, alleging the state's education cost-sharing formula violates the state constitution and places an unfair burden on local property taxes to support school spending. Now, the Connecticut Mirror reported today that the state Supreme Court will hear an expedited appeal of a lower court's conclusion that the way the state distributes education aid and oversees local schools is constitutional. This is going to be a developing story, something we want to talk more about here on CT Pulse, but just worth mentioning now. More lighthearted story, I guess you could say, but something else we're following. Trumbull's first selectman, Tim Herbst, we've had on the show to talk about some of his social media and texting behaviors, has kind of landed in hot water again. The battle between two former Trinity College political combatants has spilled over this week into the popular Chaz and AJ radio show. Tim Herbst appeared on the program Tuesday morning saying he had defeated Democrat David Alexander in a student government race 15 years ago. And now Herbst is trying to defeat Democrats around the state, including Alexander, who is a two-term legislator in his hometown of Enfield. There was some kind of text exchange. Herbst said it was an accident, but he sent him a Dirty Harry clip, which Alexander considered a threat, and then brought it to state Capitol Police there. Herbst has now been ordered to not contact Alexander. Just a really interesting back and forth there. Herbst saying on Chaz and AJ, the Hartford Courant reporting, that Alexander wants to take attention away from the fact that the real threat is him on the road behind the steering wheel inebriated. Alexander had 2 DUIs this past year, but Alexander saying he's received positive feedback from his Enfield constituents on his running for re-election there. He also said he's not sure why Tim Herbst is so focused on him. He said he lives in Trumbull. Why is he coming up and focusing on me? I think it's a little weird, and he's overly fixated and obsessed with me and my race. I think it's a personal, weird fascination. He's trying to settle scores that don't need to be settled. Herbst, however, defending himself on Chaz and AJ this week. Interesting story there. Definitely one to check out. I know it's all over ctcapitalreport.com right now. But we're going to keep things lighthearted, and Doug Smith is joining me for some drawing conclusions. He is in dog form, and he is drinking Foster's.
Yep.
That dog has a great mustache.
Douglas Smith.
So, Doug, what do you have for us this week?
Okay.
Let's take a look.
That's in Milford. They're having the bottle and can drive, Jonathan Law High School, so it's just a little play on words.
Nice. That's quite a bottle drive you have there. And up next, some Toastmaster humor.
Yep.
We always love that.
Yep.
Who's this for? This is for the Park City Toastmasters
Right,
Club.
it's on Stratford Star, and just playing maybe on the Doctor Strange movie that's coming out.
And this next one, New
Oh, the
Canaan, that looks like the Outback. Tell us about this one.
Yep, well, the funniest thing is a month or so ago, they said the Outback was in danger of collapsing. It was, they had to tear it down, and they got a new report on it, which seems to do a 180 and say that the thing is perfectly fine, just needs a few touch-ups.
Yeah,
so the town's kind of irritated.
Yeah.
They don't know who to believe.
Yeah, very interesting story there, but I like, so he's turning it around there,
Yep.
the Outback. And up next, explain this one to us.
That is our etiquette column. A person writes in and asks, what's the best way to eat spaghetti? They have
Really?
no clue. Yep.
And what was the advice given?
Just
Do you remember?
basically twirled on your fork against a spoon or the
Against
plate.
a spoon, right, okay. I used to work at an Italian restaurant. We always had to give the spoon with the
Yep.
spaghetti. All right, and the annual Pumpkin Way-Off returns. This is in Ridgefield, I
Yep.
believe, this weekend. And it looks like one of those pumpkins is juicing with
He
GMOs.
A little steroid action there.
All right, Doug. Well, thank you so much, as
Okay.
always, for joining us.
Thank you.
Josh is back with us next week. He
Yay.
always enjoys your cartoons, especially when you draw him. We love that the most. So keep bringing those on. But we are going to wrap things up here on CT Pulse. Coming up at 2 o'clock, Nutmeg Sports, so be sure to check that out. And 6 o'clock, girls soccer at Fairfield Ludlow, live on the HAN Network. We'll see you next week for CT Pulse. Have a great day.